Hi, Marnie, can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Hi, ja, ek is hier. Sorry, my
Okay,
laptop het net een of ander issue met sy video vandag.
it's fine. No worries, no worries. As jy 'n bad hair day het, nou hoef jy ook nie jou
Ja,
kamera
baie
aan te
bad
sit.
day. So dis 'n 2-in-1.
Okay. Ek gaan gou my screen share met hulle. Ek wil gou vir julle wys, net ek kom nou share daarso. Okay. Die eerste ding wat ek vinnig mee wil begin, en as julle vir my vrae het, onderbreek my asseblief. Kan julle my screen sien? Ek wil hom eintlik 'n bietjie groter maak. Okay. Ek weet nie of jy, I don't know if you saw this picture before, but it's quite a general picture on your social media. What is success? What is your definition of success? Each of us will have a different meaning, a different definition of success. But to become successful in real estate, there's a lot of sacrifices that you will have to do. You're going to have to stay healthy. Your body and your mind must be healthy. You're going to have to create good habits in order to stay healthy. You need to focus, and you have to change and grow your mindset. You must be able to handle disappointments. Okay, I just want to hide this. You must be persistent. You have to achieve your daily goals. You have to monitor expenses. Okay. You have to meeting targets. I will say that's more towards meeting your targets with your buyers. You have to show so many buyers a week. You have to list so many properties. And per month, when I was still working at RealNet, I had to do 2 sales a month. That was my target. If I didn't do 2 successful sales a month, sometimes I wrote like 3 or 4 sales, and then one of them won't materialize. But that was my set target that I had because it was realistic. When I started Estate Zone, I always had that mindset, at least 2 sales per month, and I kept more. 1 month when I was in RealNet, I was doing a new development. I had 16 sales for the month, but then you work, eat, and sleep. There's no I just want to put my phone off on mute, sorry. So yeah, then there's no family life or whatever. Then you will have to have determination. You're going to have to handle your setbacks. A lot of times you're going to be on your knees, you're going to be in tears. That's that emotional stability that we saw in the Big Five. And I think all of you were like emotional stable, which was a very good trait for me. And you must be able to handle rejection very well. So this is basically what people don't see, all the emotional baggage behind the success. So I just wanted to share it with you. I don't know if any of you have comment on that. Okay, so now in the market as it is, we're going to concentrate on the POE today. I'm going to go back to the slides, but the past 3 sessions, you were thrown into the deep end, and I did some crisis management with sales agreements, lease agreements, listings, etc., etc. And bond approval, we did discuss that. But with the market as it is at the moment, okay, one of you gonna come across a buyer that's going to ask you, listen, can I buy the property and pay it off with installments? Okay. Now, I think next year and the year after, we're going to see a lot of these phenomena. First of all, we do not have a standard sales agreement for this. You will, prior to agreement, contact me, and we will have to then communicate to one of our panel attorneys, Forster and Brunt or De Villiers and Pfeiffer, to draw up a specific sales agreement that's made custom for this specific circumstances. Okay. Now, I got this off the internet. Okay. A sale agreement is still in line with the Land Alienation Act of 1991. It's not like a lease agreement with the option to buy. Okay. A sale agreement basically can go up to 5 years. Okay. Basically, it's good for a purchaser that can't qualify for a bond now. You're going to get that a lot, that they default somewhere and the bank don't want to borrow them any money. And it's also good for a seller who doesn't need the money right now, which I don't think there are a lot of them. But, if you sell your property, you normally want to buy another property, or you need the money. Otherwise, or you want to relocate, but you're not in such a hurry for the funds of the sales of your property. So then I will save this document and then email it to all of you. I think it's good that you have this, and also put it in your financial POE file, because I think future we're going to get a lot to do with this. Now, first of all, this property, after the agreement is signed, it must be done. It's going to register in the deeds office, okay, before the purchaser is going to pay the installment. But the purchaser is going to pay a heavy deposit, I think, okay, not a small deposit, to be on the safe side. You're going to do the sale agreement with the installments. Then the purchaser pays a deposit. Then preferably the deposit must be paid before occupation, date of occupation. Then the property is going to get registered in the deeds office. But if you register a property, you call it a caveat. I don't know if anybody of you heard of that, but it's going to get registered, but with certain conditions against that registration, where the conveyancer, and they're also going to note this in the sales agreement, say, the purchaser, this is the schedule of payments that the purchaser is going to do, okay? During this period, the seller can't bond the property, or he can't sell the property to another buyer, okay? This is the caveat that's going to be registered at the deeds office, okay? The purchaser will pay the transfer duty of the property like a normal agreement before the property register. The seller retains legal ownership on the property, okay, until the sales price is paid in full. Now, if you have questions, you must ask, please, because you're gonna come across this sooner or later, okay? The buyer is able to take occupation after the deposit is paid, okay? The buyer must pay the municipal rates and taxes, okay, and also insurance on the property as soon as occupation took place, okay? And also, yeah, insurance.
Sure, but Annelie,
Okay.
that's very
Yeah,
strange. Because
it's very strange.
Yeah, because if the seller is still the legal owner until the full amount has been paid, you would think that
and it's getting
insurance and
registered
stuff,
like that.
yeah,
You
but you would
register
think
it. You must.
should still be
You know
paid by
what? This is so dangerous. It's actually, I'll tell you now the pros and the cons about this. The pros is in a funny market where buyers are few, sellers are a lot. They do this normally, and in times of your depression with farms, etc., etc. So this differs then from option to purchase, okay? But this is legal. You get transactions like that in the deeds office. I'm not very fond of this because it's very dangerous grounds, and I'll get to the pros and the cons, Marushka, okay? Should the buyer fail to make a payment on a scheduled date, okay, the property will revert back to the seller and the purchaser will forfeit all the money that he paid so far, okay? Now, I'm not telling you do a sales agreement like this, but what my role is as your principal of Estate Zone Group is to train you. Sorry. I've got something in my throat. So I must make you aware of these different methods of buying. Okay, I don't think you were aware of this because I'm not very fond of this because should something happen to the purchaser, let's say the purchaser dies in a car accident, what happens to all that money? That's why I'm saying you have to get your conveyancer must join in and they must put a clause should there be any let's say the seller passes away or the purchaser passes away, what then, so each sales transaction is going to be custom made for each and individual transaction. And I know there's agents specifically on farming land or agricultural holdings. The people like to do that because then they can generate income out of the property while they stay there. They use the income that they generate to pay the installments, okay? The seller is entitled to charge interest on the installments as well, okay? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, the sellers can charge interest, okay? So this is not advisable, okay? But I just wanted to let you know, and go and Google it, purchase by installment, and you will, I just want to save this file quickly on my computer, and I will send it to you. You can go and Google it and see if you come across other agreements like this. Marushka, I don't think you and David is going to get a lot of that, but if you work on small holdings and farms, you get a lot of these transactions, okay? Marnie, yes, you can ask a question.
Yeah, so we would have sold our property to when Marlies had the transaction CIF. So our terms and conditions was they were also going to pay with installment. So they would have paid cash the difference between what we owe the bank and what the property was being sold for. And then they had 5 years to pay off the bond. And only after the bond was paid off, we would have registered in the office. We wouldn't have registered anything before they haven't paid off our bond.
You can do that, but sometimes the correct legal, I'm actually a bit surprised because I think that agent is a lawyer. The thing is, now the buyer is paying for something, okay, that it's not his. You understand what I say? He starts to pay. This transaction, you can do it that method, but if you register it with a caveat, remember now, the seller, this is how you do it legally, okay? The seller is still the legal owner of the property until the buyer paid the last installment, so that it gets registered like that in the deeds office, okay? That's the correct way of doing it, okay? So as soon as the purchaser paid the last installment, then I think with a house it's different. Let's say with a farm, as I said, you start farming and you generate the proceeds, the farming income, and you pay the installments off. So it's safer to do it this way than what you would have done, Marnie. It's for the purchaser because
the risk was not on us. The risk was on them, because if they forfeited 2 months of non-payments, they would have lost their 2 million rand deposit.
Exactly. And you call that in the Afrikaans, Romeins, Hollandse reg, you call that rouwkoop. I'm going to spell it to you. RAUW, rouwkoop. Now in this specific agreement, it's also a ruilkoop. If the purchaser doesn't pay, they lose, they forfeit all that money. Now, I sold a vacant land in Rietvlei View, but we didn't register it in the deeds office, but the purchaser made down payments 6 months, and we specifically said if he someone asking something? No. Okay, because sorry. It was a notification for another thing. Then we didn't register at the deeds office because it was a short period. But if you're looking at 5-year periods, this starts to get lengthy, and anybody's circumstances can change. So if I was a purchaser and I enter into an agreement like that, I would have gone the route of the deeds office, because it protects you as well, and everything is legally. Because in your case scenario, Marnie, what happens if you or the purchaser, something happens to you and they can't pay anymore? Did you do any provision for that? So that's why I say we don't have a standard sales agreement for that. The agreement must be amended for each and every personal scenario, but you do get that. And I think with the market as it is, a lot of buyers have defaulted. You're going to get this more and more and more. I mean, I'm quite surprised that you already got like an offer like that on your property. Not very fond of it. As I said, there's too many criteria that can change. You use it a lot for normal housing where your seller is distressed, okay, and he needs to sell his property. Then your buyer can take over his monthly bond installments, and then the seller will more or less get his price. The buyer will move into the property. So there's a lot of different scenarios. But keep that in mind. You can Google this topic, Marnie. You wanted to ask something? No.
No,
okay.
no.
Okay. So I just thought with this market as it is, I wanted to share this information with you, that you are aware if a buyer comes to you, we can always make a plan. We can go to the panel attorneys and we can try to accommodate both parties. It's not advisable. I don't like, and the agent's commission is paid with the deposit. So it's quite dangerous for the seller and the buyer, because then the agent just walks away and says, sorry, thank you, have a nice life, basically. So, in Portugal, I just want to tell you, I said to Charles, when I'm finished, because I'm busy with my applications for my PhD degree as well. But after that, the agents, how they work, I think South Africa has one of the best deeds office systems in the world. Okay. David?
Just a question. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. With the ruilkoop, with the payment by installment, is it good to add more value to the buy then?
To add more value to the buy.
To sell it for more.
You know what? I won't do that. I mean, why do you want to sell it for more if the ruilkoop is involved? I mean, the ruilkoop is there to protect the seller should the buyer default. And with that one sales agreement I had in Rietvlei View, the buyer defaulted. And then he forfeited all his money because I explained to him, you know what, if you miss a payment, so with the first installment, he was fine. The second installment, he came with stories, and I quickly had to do an addendum to cover him. But with the third installment, there was again funny, and I said, you know what, we explained to you explicitly, this is a ruilkoop. So the ruilkoop basically covers the seller. and not the purchaser. So the seller is already covered. So why do you want to increase the sales price?
Because you don't get your money immediately.
That I did with the 6 months period. Let's say you sell, yeah, I hear what you say. You can build that in. You can discuss it with your seller and say, you know what, do you want me to? But normally a property transaction, if it's a normal sale, it will take anyway 4 months. Okay. Let's say you do a down payment by 6 months. Okay. It's 2 months that the transaction is getting delayed, because with the down payment, you can have everything ready that when the buyer pay the down payment in the 6 months, okay, the conveyancer is ready to submit at the deeds office, and it can register two weeks after that. So you get delayed by 2 months, So I will rather tell the seller, let's do it this way. You covered with Raukwe, because you will get the money anyway. And then we can sell your property again, and if you're in a hurry, then you're not going to get your money immediately. Then we can maybe put it in for less in the market, or the same. And then you anyway have the funds in your pocket for that delay. So the seller is basically covered, but I won't do an installment payment longer than 6 months. And please remember our FICA and our phase documentation in our sales agreement. That buyer must say where the money is coming from. Is he working for a government institution? Blah, 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 because money laundering is a serious thing. And a lot of people get additional income which they don't declare, and they put it into property, and we have to declare information like that, okay, specifically with the installments, because it's they will pay you like 100,000 Rand a month or 200,000 Rand a month, and we need to know where that funds is coming from. Okay. Did I answer your question, David?
Yes, thank you.
You know what? You can set, depends on how long your installment period is. Okay. It's like this agreement that I told you now about. The seller can charge interest because the seller is basically becoming a bank now. So he must, in that article that I will mail you, he must fall under the auspices of the Financial, the Financial, not the Financial Intelligence Act, the Financial Act of 2008, where the buyer cannot spend more than 30% of their income. So he has to assess the buyer and see how much income the buyer is going to generate, and it can't be more than 30% of their income. Okay, specifically on farms and stuff, you have to. It's quite a mouthful. So if you get across something like that, please, before you communicate to the buyer, please contact me first. We'll sit down. We'll see how we can structure this. But if I'm a buyer and I'm going to pay a property for 5 years, I want some or other protection, not just the piece of paper it's written on. Okay, so then I would rather do the installment and register it in the deeds office to make it more legit, to cover the purchaser and the seller equally. Okay. I'm going to remove this from my screen. Okay. Any other questions on that, or can I start with the logbook presentation and the POE? Are you fine with that? I'm monitoring the time. Okay, sorry. I'm going to quickly, I know, Mariska, you've got a logbook already. We'll get to that. Okay. In your logbook that you will have to do, okay, you're going to put and I suggest you start with it now, specifically over December period and January period. You will see your logbook in your POE file is basically combined with each other. And I'll tell you now. So start with your file. I just want to show you, and Estelle has got access to all this. Estelle, can we email, or they, as far as I can remember, every agent got this information. You can see my screen now. Logbook 1, the education background, the work experience, CV, identity document, job description, fidelity fund certificate, other qualifications. I will declare the authenticity of the logbook, change of principles. I will do that. The induction we already did, and there's an induction slide that you can basically print out and put in the induction section 10 of the logbook. Performance appraisals. So I just want to go back to the slide. So each and every one of you has got this PDF documentation from 1 to 25. Am I correct if I say so? Hello?
Ja, almal het daai gekry, Annelie.
Ja, dankie.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so the declaration of the authenticity, self-reflection on the training. Okay, self-reflection is such a important part of your learning, because even I had to compile a self-reflection report in my studies, because it's see what you have accomplished, can do, and what still needs attention. Okay, but what I advise you is with this training that we're going to do, we're not going to start and focus on one point. We're going to look at the logbook holistically, and then we're going to narrow it down. So if I can give you advice, print all the chapter 1 to 25, and then with our training sessions, we're going to do, so you're going to compile the file holistically, and then we're going to zoom in on chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. But if you can, the self-reflection, we're not going to do now because you're not ready to do it. You're going to do it at a later stage when we went through our training, okay? The task breakdown, we already did a sales agreement, a lease agreement, a mandate form, how to do a conduct a FICA on your buyers, your the mandate form, inspection forms. So there's tasks that you already can start to break down step by step, but we're going to learn still more as we go along. But I just want to use the POE and the logbook to provide some guidance as we go along, okay? The product training, you can provide evidence, like Mariska and David, you did that sales agreement. You can provide evidence of that. You can even send the link of the YouTube training. So that's why it's very valuable that we load the training sessions on YouTube. You can provide evidence. You sat in the training. You can provide evidence of your sales agreement that you've done. You can provide evidence of a lease agreement if you do a lease agreement. And then you can say the task breakdowns, that what you did, you know. So, is anybody's, are your files ready or not yet? I just want to know if we're more or less on the same page.
Not yet.
Not yet. So I will, if I was you, your homework will be to print all the file, get your logbook file ready. Mariska, you can use your other logbook file as an example, but you will see on the PDF documentation that we have, it's all estate zone group logos and stuff, and I would prefer if we can use that. You can actually add your RealNet material with that. I mean, I will look at that as well, okay? The legal environment is all your code of conduct from the Estate Agency Affairs Board. You will have to print that. That's so important. Your that is now in the POE. Hold on. I just want to go here. Can you see my screen? Okay, your legal environment is your code of conduct there. Code of conduct of the Estate Agency Affairs Board and Estate Zone Group, the code of conduct. So you will put it there. Mariska, there in the POE is the change of the principles details that I will do. So you can see a lot of the material in your logbook is in your POE, but I don't want us to get mixed up with this now. So today I want to focus on the logbook. Okay. Let me go back to my slide. Okay. Marketing, selling, and leasing of residential property. I think we covered that so far. The legal environment, you're going to have to read the acts, the Estate Agency Affairs Act, the Consumer Protection Act. Estelle did provide you with all those acts. Now, I will print out those acts. Don't maybe put 2 pages, print it in landscape if you get to your acts, okay? Print it in landscape and 2 pages on one sheet. Then you're going to save ink and paper. Those acts are so important because if you're going to do your open book examination, you're going to refer back to that. Say clause so and so and so of act so and so and so. So you do have the acts. I will just print them and put them in my logbook under the legal environment and familiarize yourself with the acts. The financial environment is your FICA, your Financial Act of 2008, where you have to pre-qualify your buyers that they don't buy for more than 30% of their income. The same goes for lessees. They can't rent a property for more than 30% of their income. But as we go along in our files, and we're going to zoom in on your logbook files, I will discuss the financial environment. Ooh, okay. Can you guys hear me? Sorry, I muted myself. Can you hear me? Okay. Marketing, selling, and leasing of residential property, we covered that. Management skills. Now, each of you is going to come across some or other managerial skill where you had to manage something. Administrative skills, we all have administrative skills, like you can actually add with that administrative skills, that planner, that link that I send you to the planner to say, this is what your diary looks at on a day, a week, a month. That's administrative skills. Your legal principles in real estate. To me, the legal environment and the legal principles in real estate is a bit overlapping, but I'm going to discuss each and every one as you print your files and you sit with your open file in front, and we are going to guide you through your logbook chapter by chapter, because what you need to print, I have on my computer, and we're going to work through it chapter by chapter. So I want you to print your logbook file. Try to have it ready within the next 2 weeks, because after the logbook, I'm going to do the POE file as well. And you will see the 2 linked with each other. Okay. Human resources, HR, that's like dealing with other clients, dealing with other employees in Estate Zone Group. What is your what experience did you get of HR in your environment? Okay, we'll still get to that as well. Okay. There's your compliances with the East Acts, FICA, Code of Conduct, marketing activities. Now, in your Estate Agency Affairs Act, they tell you what you can do and not can do with marketing. Is your marketing material true and correct? Is it genuine? Did you do you put information there that's not supposed to be there? And you can also give proof of your marketing activities, the advertisement on property 24, print it out and put it behind that chapter. Then they can see you basically competent. This POE file is for the PPRA to see what have you done in the past 12 months during your internship period. Can you market a property correctly? Do you know what the code of conduct is for estate agents? Okay. Do you know what is in the Estate Agency Affairs Act? If they ask you a certain clause, do you know? Now, I can't remember clause this and this and this. That's why you have to have a file. And if you get to the exam, it's an open book because it's too much information, but you're going to have to tag each and everything, and I'll guide you to do that as well, because my role here is to successfully train you as an intern agent so that you can go and write your examination and pass. Okay. And the examination is not that difficult if we do our files correctly and tag them correctly. And I'm going to go through, I'm going to become an intern agent with you guys, and I'm going to guide you through each chapter section by section. Okay. So, other workplace activities, we did the marketing activities, other workplace activities not stipulated, like maybe canvassing, screening your buyers, stuff like that. You can put there other workplace activities, but we'll handle that. I want to ask on the logbook, is there any questions on the logbook section? Okay, no questions. Can I move on to the POE file? Are you ready for the? Okay, so homework. This is very important. You've got all the files. You're going to need to print. You're going to have two files, a logbook file and a POE file. Okay, each and every one of you. If you want to try to save paper, do it like the double printing. I'm fond to do that, but bear in mind, if you're going to go and write exams, okay, and you need to tag the stuff, you must make sure that the fonts, if you do it 2 pages on 1 A4 page, that you will be able to read the fonts, and if you highlight something that you can read it quickly, because normally your constraints with the open book exam is your hours. It's a 3-hour exam, I think. I used to mark the examination papers for the EAAB. I assisted them in the NQF4 marking. And most of the stuff you can see, the students start off and they answered everything so well. And then here towards the end, there's nothing. Then you can see they ran out of time. So you can only spend so much time on a question, okay? And the main thing is you must know where it's in your file, that you can tag it. You're going to buy, you get it at Forum. It's like a plastic little tag thing, and you're going to tag your files. It's basically going to look like a Bible, and you're going to have to tag it that you can see exactly where it is. What I did even before my NQF5 examination, I did like in my index, I made notes for myself to get to the keywords quicker. Then if you have a question, because time is you have all the information in your file, the problem is the time to finish it. So if you work on your indexes and make notes there, and then you can quickly go to that page. Okay. And I also found when I went too fast through my file, where I did the punch holes, they tore. So you get those little plastic round stickers that you put on each page to protect your page, because if you're in a hurry, you're going to tear your pages. And I do suggest you get that from the beginning when creating your file. put that little plastic, you buy it at C&A or Forum in your larder Spark or whatever, put that on your file, because you're going to go so many times through your file that it's best for you to have that. Get highlighters, color code. We're going to use color coding. In UK, they call it thematic analysis, because you're going to guide yourself with colors. So invest in a good file, a strong file. Print your file, put those little loops on, get yourself some good highlighters. Okay. And now I want to move over to the POE file. So what I want you to realize now is I touch the logbook file holistically. Okay. You're going to print it, and then we're going to zoom in and narrow down on the logbook file. I just want to holistically touch the POE file as well. Okay. And you will see how they overlap. You do have this documentation in PDF. If you want to perhaps have the Word format, Estelle, because if they want to type their names in and stuff like that, I'm sure you have the Word intern agreement. Estelle, am I correct, or is it all in PDF?
We do have
Hello?
it in Word, Annelie. We do have it in
Okay,
Word.
okay. So
Yeah.
if you need it, just send Estelle an email to say I want to type my details in, etc., etc. Okay. There you will see in your POE file, you have your intern agreement. Okay. There is your logbook. So your logbook is going to be a section of your of your POE file. Okay. So you have your intern agreement with Estate Zone Group, your logbook, your POE file. But I would prefer you have your logbook in one file and your POE in another file, because we're going to do a lot of projects and you need to hand that in. Okay. Your induction information. Okay. There you can print out the induction that we did with the Estate Zone Group. The slideshow, you can print that out. Job description. I'm going to zoom in on that and discuss that with you as well. Because your job description is also in the code of ethics of Estate Zone Group, which you have. Okay. And I think we're going to brainstorm our job description together. And then you can make notes and you can write it down. But I want us to work through this evidence or portfolio of evidence together. I don't want to tell you do this and this and this. I want us to work together, brainstorm together on a session, specifically with the job description, Estate Zone Group's code of ethics, and the code of conduct of the EAAB. Again, your personal section is your intern agreement, your logbook, again, page 13 of your logbook for hints. Okay. Introduction to the practice, again, the functions of an estate agent, and everything is there. If I look at the POE, it's all this information here. It's the documents and undertaking, acknowledgement of the code of conduct that comes in with your undertakings, change of principal details, David and Mariska, I will do that for you. Then you get your EIB Code of Conduct, Estate Agency Affairs Act. So you're going to print it out once, but then you need to know where you have put it, in your logbook or in your POE. I think I will stick to the POE. And then in your logbook, you can just say, refer to POE section, blah, 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 that they can see you have it. Otherwise, you're going to print a double, which is unnecessary. Okay. Intern details, principal details, and there we're going to start with the projects, okay? The product knowledge, the business plan. This is very interesting. You're going to use the business plan not only in real estate, in all the aspects of business. So it's quite good that you guys are going to do that. You're going to do a marketing plan, individual development plan. It's like basically setting your goals. Draft an activity schedule. You're going to use that planner. So it's going to be very interesting. So I want to go with you over the projects, project 1 to 10. And it's not a question of we're going to do, this is quite lengthy because the product knowledge, it's not like a week, one-day training. It's going to take us 12 months to compile this and get you ready for the examination. Okay. Okay, I want to just finish the logbook. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Functions that we did, the estate agent services. Now, what services do you provide with your clients? Relationship of trust with clients. That is like to keep the information confidential. You know, the POPIA Act, you can put something in there. There you have, oh, Estelle, it's so wonderful. Everybody has got their Fidelity Fund certificates. You're going to do your NQF4. We're going to focus on the NQF5. If at such stage you want to do your NQF5, I can guide you through that as well. The CPD, that is that continuing professional development. Now, if you log in on the Estate Agency Affairs portal, I think each of you must go, can you log in onto your own portal at the EAAB or not?
Ja, elkeen
Mariska?
behoort dit te kan doen. Ek weet nie of almal dit al probeer het nie, maar ek het al op almal se naam gelog. So dit werk en dit is als reg. So hulle sal kan inlog.
Okay. So do yourself a favor, and I normally do this on December, and I'm going to do mine again in December. You know what, here they don't have December holidays like you guys have, so I'm going to have a very short December, but I did my CPDs normally in December. Okay. And I did it because for me it's better to do the CPD. You can go to functions to some of the conveyancers and the bond originators, and they give you certificates. That also counts towards your CPD points. But I did everything online. The EAAB, if you go to my portal, you will see there's a CPD platform. Complete it and say, in what do you want to do your CPD? You normally get, you want to do it in economics, in, you want to focus more on sales or leasing. I think you need to give 4 main categories that you want to focus on. Focus on what you like, okay? Because if you like it, you will be good in to do that, okay? So go and register your CPD, okay, your continuing professional development, and you need 60 CPD points in 3 years, which is wonderful because they made that every 2 years. So now it's only every 3 years. Now, my advice to you is you're going to learn a lot on the CPD platform. It's quite interesting. They show you like a video, and after that you have questions that you have to answer, and you have to get, I think, above 75% for the questions, otherwise you fail and you will have to redo the test. Okay. But you will learn a lot on the CPD. So my advice to you is do it this December, all 60 points if you can. Okay. I normally say eat that frog. Because a lot of agents say, oh, you know, this CPD is like a mountain in front of me. Do it, get it done with, because the information you're going to get from the CPD is going to help you in our POE functions and in the logbook activities. Okay, so I'm going to move on. Intern estate agents, you will have to know your restrictions. You have to do a mandatory 1-year program. That's the intern program. You have to maintain your logbook. So you're going to print your logbook, and we're going to start to maintain your logbook with as we go along. So David and Mariska and Arlu and Marnie already has got a lot of entries they can insert in their logbook file. We're going to complete your POE file. We're going to do the duties and responsibilities of the intern agent. Okay, your mentor duties and responsibilities, my duties and responsibilities. It's not a responsibility of me to conduct a psychometric test analysis on you guys. That was just a freebie. I just wanted to guide you because I sensed the overall morality is a bit low. That's why I did that, okay? PPRA inspections, I'm going to guide you through that. That is a administrative task that you're going to have to file documentation, etc., etc. And then practical projects, which we're going to do and work through everything. Now, the code of conduct, if you go to the code of conduct of the PPRA and you're going to print that out, there's definitions. Then you get your general duty. That is what the the code of conduct is. Sorry, I get confused with the EAIB and the PPRA. But basically, it's to protect the public's interest, okay? The mandates, what different mandates do you get? The estate agent's duty to disclose information to the seller and to the buyer, okay? Duty not to make any misrepresentation or false statements or use harmful marketing techniques, okay? Duties in respect of offers and contracts, lease agreements, sales agreements, okay? Okay, you're not allowed to work if you're under the influence of alcohol, okay, or any medication, okay, very important. Remuneration, your commission, we'll discuss that. Trust money and interest. Estate-owned group don't keep the trust money and the interest, but we're going to discuss that as we go along because all the trust, the deposits is held in the trust account of De Villiers and Pfeiffer, and they handle the interest, etc., etc. It just makes our life much more easier for us. Confidentiality, okay, in protection of information, the POPIA Act, and your responsibility that you have towards the buyer and the seller. Our client is the seller, but we do have a responsibility towards the buyer as well, okay? In Portugal, I didn't finish my sentence now. The sales agreements goes like, the purchaser, doesn't matter, you can't get 100% bond here. You pay a 10% deposit within, I think, a week. Then the agent gets his commission after gets deducted from the 10% commission. The agent walks away, okay, and they charge the same amount of commissions that we charge in South Africa. It's roughly here 5%, okay. Then the agent walks away. Then it's the seller and the purchaser who must communicate with each other and try to, and you know, when I purchased a property in Portugal, I got myself a legal representative because the agent didn't look, you know, you pay the 10% and they walk away. They said, ciao, have a nice life. So I had a legal representative that safeguarded me, and I had to pay additional for that, although the agent got their 5% commission. That's why I say South Africa has got one of the best deed systems in the world, okay, where the agent only gets commission upon successful registration. So you have to provide service the whole time, you know, anyway. Okay, so let us carry on quickly. Acknowledgement of the code of conduct. There's a form that you have to complete and say, I went through this code of conduct and Estate Zones Group's code of conduct, and you're going to put this in your portfolio of evidence file. Again, in your logbook, the Estate Agency Affairs Act is there. Then you can say, you can decide, you want to put it in your POE or you want to put it in your logbook. Then you will just say, please refer to logbook page, blah, 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 because you're going to page number everything, okay? let me carry on. I just want to see, are we there? Yes. Okay, slide 7. The code of ethics, estate zone group, and it's also in your PDF documentation. There is your job description. Who is the client? As I said now, our client is the seller, but we have to look at the purchasers. We have to protect the purchaser as well. Okay. The application of the Consumer Protection Act. Okay. If you sell property of a developer, that application of the Consumer Protection Act falls away because and this I will discuss with you also as we go through the information. Foot stewards. What is a latent and patent defect? Okay. Was it disclosed at the time of the sale? Okay. What protection does the foot stewards clause provide? And foot stewards means the way the purchaser saw the property when he viewed the property. That's the foot stewards clause, because he saw it in the condition it was. Okay. Then the seller, purchaser, and estate agent's obligations. And a very important point here is the estate agent is not supposed to go and stand in a line for the seller to do anything. The seller can get a runner that he pays a fee to cancel his water from council. A lot of estate agents do that. If you do that, you tend not to focus. You need to focus on what you need to do. So so I will discuss this there and provide you with a summary. So a lot of the sellers expect this from the agent, okay? But it's not, you're supposed to sell properties, okay? You're not supposed to stand in lines and queues, to do that. But we'll get to that, okay? Workplace experience, okay? Again, the induction, you can say refer to the induction, company functionality, legislation, code of conduct for the estate agent. So there's a lot of overlapping. Legal environment, it's exactly the same as the logbook. So that's why I say the two goes hand in hand, okay? General legal documentation, okay? Financing options to purchases. We discussed one of the financing options to purchases. When we get to that section, I will discuss the other ones as well, which I think you are familiar with anyway. The FIC Act, taxes, property gain taxes, etc., etc. General accounting procedures. This is how you work out if the buyer can afford the property and not spend more than 30% of his income. So we're going to provide a lot of evidence on the general accounting procedures, okay? The management of the estate agency, we'll discuss that. We'll go through the administration, the business systems legislation. You guys will have to file the documentation relevant to business systems in your POE file, okay? We highlighted it there. So also the paralegal aspects must go into your POE file. Okay, so where I said it's a lot of overlapping, you can put this in your logbook or whatever. The paralegal environment must be filed in your POE file. And then the paralegal aspects must also be filed in your POE file. We must just make a mental note of that, but it will be in the PDF files. Then we have the the product knowledge. There you're going to get your homework, what to do. You're going to have to do a presentation layout. Then we're going to be your audience, and you're going to have to record this on Zoom. So what we're going to do is we can Google Meet or you can Zoom. Zoom is free, and then you can record your own Zoom and do a PowerPoint presentation. It's like basically what I'm doing now. You don't have to do it for longer than an hour. You can do it, I think Zoom is 40 minutes, then it's free. So depend on what you want to do. Let's say you want to do a presentation for a developer, or do a presentation to a seller to say, this is why you have to choose me as your go-to agent. I can do this and this and this and this for you. And then you're going to do everything on a slideshow. And, so that's going to be, you can choose whatever you want to choose, but make it, it must be representative of what you do in your day-to-day activities. Okay. We've done the estate agency. Let's just say that's the product knowledge. Okay. Develop a business plan. We're going to do that. That's very interesting for us. I'm going to actually like that. Marketing plan. Again, let's say for a new development, you're going to develop a marketing plan. You have to put your marketing plan in your POE file. Remember, I'm going through this awfully quickly, okay? But this is just as I said, you're going to have to get your POE file ready. It's a lot of printing work. If I was you, I will go to a Postnet and ask them to print it for me, okay? But you have to get that ready because we're going to start to work on it, and you need to have the paper because as we go along with the projects, we're going to file them, okay? An individual development plan. You can keep your assessment if you want to, and you can say, feedback from your principal was you must work on this and this and this and this, and you can actually add that in your individual development plan and say, I've developed so far, I've changed this, and I will do more tests with you later at a later stage if you want to, okay? But there's your goal settings. What do you want to achieve? How do you want to develop? What do you want to gain? So all the stuff is going to get there in the POE file, okay? You're going to do an activity schedule. Again, time-consuming activities, training on Mondays, time set aside for buyers, functionings and tasks. Establish achievable goals. How many sales must you have a month? How many listings must you have a week, etc., etc. There, we're going to do the activity schedule. Again, analyze policies and procedures, okay? We have the policies and procedures of Estate Zone Group, legislative compliance. If there's any non-compliance detected, okay, you should draft a memorandum to the principal, and we will have to take the necessary steps to report this because we have to be EAAB compliant, okay? So in order for you to do that, you will have to have the legislation background. You must have the act printed out and to know what's your duties and responsibilities. You need to know what the duties and responsibilities are of Estate Zone Group, because if you don't know, you won't be able to comply with bullet 3 in this slide. Okay. If I'm going to carry on, proposal on enhancing team performance. That's where you guys must have maybe a monthly meeting to sit and just chat, to uplift your morale, and maybe go out for pizzas or go to a park and that you can do quarterly, make an event. I hope you scheduled a year-end function where you guys can just get together and discuss difficulties as a team and how you overcome your difficulties, etc., etc. So you're going to have to file your team activities in your POE file. So and you know what? You don't have to go to a restaurant to do team performance. I mean, you can go have a picnic somewhere or do something fun. I mean, where main thing is if you go and sit in a restaurant, it's so noisy, you can't hear each other talk. So take it go to a place where you can sit and talk to each other and you can learn from each other and incorporate the year-end function with the team performance as well. Then it's so much 2 flies with one whack. Okay. Presentation of different financing options. Okay. We'll get to that. Where you can also go to a different lender like Eskom. All the Eskom employees, they don't go to banks. Eskom have financed the properties for their employees, and then the Eskom valuator will go out. So there's different lenders, but I'll get to that with you. Also, if you're a bank employee, you get a bond far beyond you get such good interest rates if you, let's say, work at Nedbank and you go through Nedbank yourself. You know, they have staff loans there. Okay. That brochure on the registration of title deeds and mortgage bonds in the deeds office, we've done that already. I hope you kept the file because we emailed it. You should have it. But you must file that brochure in your POE file. So you can see we covered some of the work already, okay? Your research project, okay, is you're going to obtain a copy of the Code of Conduct of Estate Agents, which you already have for the purposes of the research project, okay? Then you're going to do a comprehensive research report on the contents of the Code of Conduct for Estate Agents. This is going to be very interesting, okay? And you're going to focus on the different ethical duties and obligations. So there's already your answer for you. Your research, you're not going to do all the Code of Conduct, everything. You're going to focus on different ethical duties and obligations, and you're going to focus on consequences of non-compliance. So while you print your Code of Conduct out, go highlight your ethical duties and obligations and highlight consequences of non-compliance. It's very interesting. Your ethical duties is like also if your buyer, say, and we just touched it, if they marry traditional marriage, and language has got so many different meanings. So it's going to pop up there in your different ethical duties and obligations, okay? And that you're going to also file your research project, you're going to file in your POE file. Okay, and I will guide you with my Essex MSc research proposal, the outlay and everything. I will guide you with that. We look at the PDF proposal, how you should do it, and I will compare it with my University of Essex, and we're going to blow their minds away. So that is basically the end of the POE file in a nutshell. Again, I'm going to close the file and I want to go to my screen. Okay. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Stop presenting. Okay. Everybody can hear me. I just want to see I didn't mute anybody. Okay. So any questions? Because this was a lot of information, okay? And I did it holistically with my studies. If you start with a big project, with research, you don't zoom in now. You tackle it holistically, okay? You get your 2 files ready, okay? That's holistically. And then we're going to zoom in and focus and say, okay, now. And then we're going to try to do 1 file per week. And we might go over the 1 week per file because you guys are going to have homework. And you're going to email me, okay? And with questions, please email me, okay? Or leave me a voice note or whatever, and I will guide you through the process. But as your homework now, and I told you last time your homework was a sales agreement, and I wanted to prep you, but I think Marushka, you and David are fine. Arlu is also fine. I haven't done Marnie's yet. We'll get to that, okay? But I think for us now, print those logbooks and POE files if you can, okay? When do you think you will have that ready? because I want to see what I must do next week. I think I want to start with the POE file, with the first session of the POE file next week. So try to print your POE file, the first chapters, okay, that needs to get in, that you're ready for next week. Okay, David, yes?
Just to be clear, you want me and Mariska to basically do the stuff, some of the signing work and some of the paperwork from the front. So start again, but we can use some of the work we already have prepared.
Yes,
If I understand you correctly.
you can. The problem with that I have, David, and I'm going to be very upfront with you, is I have to sign that off. So I will only sign it off if I know you have the knowledge of that specific project that I'm going to sign off. But you can use it 100%, because I will complete that change of principal. You will type your details in there and I will sign it. Okay. I think you need to get your previous principal also to sign it, and then the new principal sign it. So you will have to get that. And then all the documentation that you have done, you can say, Annelie, I've got this. Email it to me then. Okay, because then we're going to say you've done this when you were at RealNet, and you can use the documentation. I don't want you to do double work. Okay, but main thing is now start to print your POE file, because we're going to start next week with the POE file. And then did I answer your question, David?
Yeah. Just an additional question, sorry, regarding that as well. The previous principal did sign our stuff.
Okay.
Mariska, just help me here. Did she sign it physically? Did she sign it physically? The previous principal.
You have to sign it off.
Yeah. So Amanda did sign our stuff, but she sent us an email.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
You send me that email. It's fine. Okay, don't worry. We're in the electronic age today, so no worries with that. Okay. Then just for the record, you guys, every Monday is training day. Every Monday, okay? I'm not going to send you a WhatsApp. I call it spoon feeding, okay? I'm not going to spoon feed you. Ne? I'm not going to say, hello, remember training on a Monday? I just don't do that. We're all adults. We're big enough, okay? 1 o'clock South African time, okay? Every Monday training. If you can't make it or something comes up, okay, let me know. Ne? And we are going to load it on YouTube and we record it and you can watch it afterward. But specifically, if you want to learn and you want to put this in your POE file, they can see you weren't there. You were absent. Okay, so how can you use this YouTube recording? Because I record your faces. We can see who's there or not. I mean, we can see Estelle, Marnie, David, and Mariska. So if they want to question it, they can. So, and you can use this as evidence. Okay, so, and you can copy paste all the YouTube links. So my advice to you is be here, because you can ask me questions. And if I don't answer your question to your satisfaction, tell me, Annelie, answer my question. I don't understand. And I love questions. Okay. My mind is just busy wobbling all over the show. Sometimes I will answer your question and skip to a next point, then stop me and say, whoa, slow down. That's why I'm asking you pertinent. Did I answer your question? Okay. Is there any more questions? This is actually very exciting. This research project of yours is awesome. Okay, it's something to look forward to. Your marketing plan, your business plan. It's like, it's nice. It's gonna, it's interesting. It's like I'm gonna show you with your marketing plan. You're gonna do valuations, etc., etc. So there's lots of stuff. Okay, the fact that Arlu walked past you, Mariska, doesn't count. He's there. Okay, at the meeting. Okay, so he can't use it in his portfolio of evidence. But I'm sorry. Okay. Anyway, any questions, you guys? Note. Okay. So it's 11:15 on my side. It's 2 on your side. I hope you have a wonderful week. Please 2:15. Okay. Stay productive. Okay. David, I'm going to work through your assessment. Okay, but I can tell you now, all the other ones had such wonderful resilience. I must say that. You know how to handle difficult situations and get back on track. Well done for that. You all had very good. You're supposed to sit where you sit now. Okay. All of us had a little bit of tweaks. We must tweak here a bit there and whatever. Even me. I was so surprised with mine. But yeah. Okay. But I will work through yours, David, and I'll email you. Okay. I have emailed all the other ones. Yeah. And then we take it from there. Have a good week. If there's questions, WhatsApp me, email me. You can WhatsApp call me. If I must make myself available for a contract, I'm available. Just let me know in advance. Yeah. And that's it. Okay. Okay. You must have a lovely week further. Okay. Okay. Keep well. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Marlene.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.